Why are you so ashamed? You shouldn't be. You should be just as proud. There's nothing wrong with the melanin in your skin. There's nothing wrong with what you come from, your lineage, your ancestors. There's nothing wrong with what we're trying to fight for. It's only human rights. You're not wrong for that. Stop the, oh, we could just be equal, just be one. We can't be equal when for 300 years we couldn't read or write. 300 years we couldn't own land. For 300 years we couldn't own businesses. And then 150 years there was Jim Crow, segregation, mass incarceration, police brutality, and all these other levels of oppression. You don't just start after that and say we're equal and we're fair. Like, I can't come rob your house blind and then say, hey, look, I got all the goods, but now we're equal, we're fair. Let's go. How are we fair? Where's the makeup for the injustices? That's fair. That's equality. So, and the reason why I say we're not identifying with African American, because it sounds brainless. If Hitler would have freed the Jews, right, before they caught Hitler and bombed Germany, if he would have stopped the Holocaust and said, you know what, Jews are freed from enslavement. You know what was I thinking? I was crazy. Jews, you're freed from enslavement now. You can now be citizens of Nazi Germany. I don't think the Jews would run around calling themselves Jewish Nazis. Or I don't think the Jews would accept being under the authority of the Nazis who just had them in enslavement in concentration camps. They'd be crazy for staying under the same authority of the government that treated them that way. And for identifying themselves as people of that government, as Jewish Nazis. And some of you may argue, oh, they'll be Jewish Germans. All the same when the Nazi regime is the one that's running them. So why? The same reason it makes sense or would be brainless for a Jewish person to do that, and I think they would have more pride in themselves and more dignity to identify themselves as their capturers and the ones who enslaved them and the ones who oppressed them. Black people need to have the same level of pride and dignity to not succumb to just because you grew up in elementary school and they taught you were African American and they told you about the red, white, and blue flag, and you were brainwashed ever since the time you were in kindergarten through high school that you're this person. Look at the reality now that you're an adult or you're hearing this message. Look at the reality. Who are you really? And does it make sense for you to be labeling yourself with the same government that is still allowing police to kill our people and get off every day? That is still allowing people to live in environments like Baltimore knowing the government is the one that redlined those communities. They created the ghettos. Google what I'm saying. Look it up for yourself so you can be awakened. They put us in the ghettos after we couldn't read or write for 300 plus years or own businesses or land. We had no family wealth. How do you come up out of that with no repair aid, no restitution? That's not fair. The same government you claim to be a part of and be one of and be equal has dogged your people out. They've treated you so poorly. Your own flesh, it's your own blood, your own lineage, your own people. People that came from the African shores. The heirs of Africans enslaved here in America. Like, have some pride, have some dignity. Malcolm said a man can only climb your back if your back is bent. Stand up. Posture. Let's become a nation to at least sit at the table at the United Nations or World Court and be acknowledged by somebody so we can bring our human rights issues to the table. Even if it means we're still here in America, let's be here in America at an even eyesight, even playing field, even level. It's not even. It's not equal. They never made it equal. They tried to make it equal for the Japanese Americans and gave them $1.6 billion. They tried to make it equal for the Native Americans and gave them land and sovereignty. And they're still doing bad on the reservations because they couldn't handle the oppression was too deep for them. Germany tried to make it even for the Jews who were in the Holocaust by giving them $1.6 billion and their heirs, and Israel. They had land. So why haven't blacks got zero? We haven't got $1,000. We got zero. For all the oppression, for all the enslavement, for all the lynchings, for all the police brutality. Understand what the government really did to black people. And I'm saying this to all people of all races. They really, really did a number on black people and did nothing about it but a 2008 apology for slavery. It's fact that the government, Google this as well. The courts have decided that the American government had a part to play in Martin Luther King's assassination. One of the greatest leaders who's got an American holiday and all that. The government had a part to play in the assassination. That's a fact. Look it up. The government, the FBI director, J. Edgar Hoover had COINTELPRO, a government organization funded by taxpayer dollars, to break up civil rights groups and put Martin and Malcolm against each other and kill the Black Panthers and anyone that wanted to fight for freedom and independence of black people. You peg groups who fought back saying, oh, they killed cops, or they killed this, or they did that, or they defended themselves. What about all the cops that killed black people? Should black people never defend themselves? Should the Jewish people not have defended themselves against a Nazi Germany that was killing them? What's the difference? If your government is killing you, shouldn't you defend yourself? Don't look at us as black. Take the skin, the melanin off, and imagine if we were Jews here in America who suffered slavery here in America for 300 years and Jim Crow here in America for 100+ years. But we were Jewish people, not black people. You probably feel different about us. You probably rally with us. Black people, you probably feel different about yourself. If you were a Jewish person who went through the same things that black people went through and still go through today. The problem is empathy. The problem is that there's a disconnect in the human mind and heart when it comes to black people. You don't see us the same, and we don't even see ourselves the same. But it's time for that to change. This is real life facts. This is real life conditions of what we go through. I'm just being a voice. I'm just being a messenger. Understand it's all logic. This is not even like militant revolutionary. It's like none of that. It's just logic. Let's do something about it. We have to solve our own problems first as new Africans. So first and foremost, understand who you are, what you want to be. Understand there's a lot of groups out there and everybody has a different idea. I say let's whatever we gotta do, we gotta vote. Whatever we gotta do, let's bring it to the table, let's decide on one thing. For me, the elders already laid it out. I'm not an old African. I'm not a current day African, but I'm a new African. I'm not an African American. I'm not a black person. And I could semi-identify with black, but that won't be my nationality, I check. Like, you can't run around only calling yourself a black person. Like, that's a color. Like, you gotta have some kind of nationhood, some kind of lineage, some kind of identity. And that's the red, black, and green. New African people. And that's what we here at YMC represent, is just the advancement and independence and the end of oppression of black people. Like, imagine us as Jews. You want the same thing for the Jewish people, so why not want it for us? What's so bad about us? What did we do so wrong? All we did is got captured, enslaved, stripped of our language, stripped of our heritage, stripped of our traditions, stripped of our family values, and help empower one of the richest and most powerful countries in the world. We helped build the White House, literally. I've seen the pictures myself. We helped build multi-billion-dollar enterprises for other people, for other races, and their family wealth. And we've got zero in restitution or repair aid, but we live in ghettos, like you just seen, all over the country. So when are you going to do something about it, take a stand? As a black person, or a new African person, or as a European American, or white person, or Hispanic person, or whatever you are. You don't empathize with what we go through? Why? Because our color? Because of what? Because we live in ghettos? What about us makes you not connect with us the same way you connect with other races? Japanese Americans, Jewish Americans, Native Americans. What do we do? Fight with us, rally with us. Go to joinymc.org. Put your info in, become part of the movement. I don't care what race, what color, what religion you are. It has nothing to do with that. It's about that my people are hurting. I have to stand up and speak for my people. I'll be a traitor not to. I'll be an idiot not to. Ask yourself this, new African person. I don't care if you're a professional athlete, you're a regular everyday Joe, whatever you are, politician, whatever. Ask yourself, what would Malcolm do? That'll answer a lot of your questions. When you've seen, even if you have a craft of playing a sport, right? Then ask yourself, what would Muhammad Ali do? What would Malcolm do? What would Martin do? What would Marcus do? Marcus Garvey. So follow our forefathers. Our forefathers aren't Patrick Henry, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson. All those men owned slaves. All those men looked at us as chattel property. They can't be your forefather. Your father wouldn't enslave you. Look at our forefathers. Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, and our foremothers as well. Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, Coretta Scott King, those who fought for us. So, this is it. It's the reality, man. I want to showcase you guys what it's about. I'm about to eat at a black-owned restaurant, Sharif's. Also, that I can help stimulate the black economy. If I spend money with another community, they get richer, and they've already been richer, and blacks stay poorer. Or, excuse me, new Africans stay poorer. So in order for me to help stimulate the New African economy. I have to spend money with New Africans. So that way Sharif get richer. And Sharif's family gets richer. And he could pass his restaurant enterprise down to his heirs. And they get richer. And I want you to spend money with me, so I get richer. And I'll spend money with you, so you get richer. And we all get richer. And we can raise the bar of family wealth for New Africans in America. One love. I love y'all from the bottom of my heart, man. I want to see our people do well. Receive this message with purity, authenticity, transparency, and everything I said is factual. If there's a blip in there somewhere, call it out, but you know it's real. All right, YMC, New Role Models. 1. Up Community, Nation Build 101.